The rain was soft that evening, tapping against our kitchen window like a warning I couldn't hear yet. My wife, Melissa, stood with her arms crossed, eyes too calm for what she was about to say. "I need an open marriage," she said flatly, as if asking for a new paint color in the hallway. I blinked. "Excuse me? We're stuck. I just think we need options. I need to explore. I still love you," she added, smiling, "but it's time we grow, individually." She didn't ask. She declared. Like she'd already made her mind up long ago. I should have screamed, fought, asked who. Instead, I said nothing. My silence wasn't weakness, it was calculation. I agreed, calmly, coldly. "Okay, if that's what you want, then fine." That night, I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling for hours while Melissa snored next to me like she had won something. The next morning, I got a call from my older brother Jackson. He runs a resort in Maui, Hawaii. His voice was sharp. "Hey man, random question. Where's Melissa?" I rubbed my temple. "New York, conference trip. Why?" He paused. "No, bro, she's here, at my hotel, with some guy, and she just used your ATM card at the pool bar." My stomach turned to ice. "Jackson," I said slowly, "don't say anything. Just keep eyes on them, and send me everything you can. It's time to give her exactly what she asked for." Melissa texted me later that evening. "Landed safe. Conference starting early tomorrow. Love you." I stared at her message, still stunned at how easily lies rolled off her fingers. I didn't reply. Instead, I was already at my brother Jackson's side in Hawaii. I'd taken the red-eye flight that same night and checked into a suite under a different name. My brother had arranged everything: surveillance cameras, access logs, and a private view of the oceanfront cabana Melissa had booked for two. As I sipped black coffee and watched the security footage, it felt like I was watching someone else's life. There she was, Melissa, wrapped in a white robe, sitting across from a tall guy with a man bun and tribal tattoos. He kissed her hand. She laughed. Jackson leaned over and whispered, "They checked in under your name and used your joint card." "She's stealing from me while she's cheating on me," I muttered. "No," Jackson said, shaking his head. "She's not just stealing your money. She's liquidating your accounts." He pulled out his iPad and showed me something that made my throat go dry. Melissa had been making small transfers to an offshore account over the past 3 months. Joint funds, retirement savings, even the emergency fund set aside for our daughter's college. "She's cleaning you out slowly, thinking you wouldn't notice," he said. I sat still for a second, breathing hard. Then I smiled. "Time for her conference to start," I said darkly. "Let's give her the keynote she'll never forget." As the waves crashed outside the hotel's private terrace, I sat down with Jackson to finalize our plan. The more we uncovered, the more I realized Melissa wasn't just cheating. She was dismantling everything we had built together, piece by piece, with cold precision. Jackson had quietly contacted a lawyer friend who specialized in financial forensics and divorce litigation. Within hours, we had proof of Melissa's secret transactions, screenshots of her flirty texts with the man she called Kai, and even audio from a bug my brother had placed in the cabana's flower vase. Her voice haunted me. "He's so soft, always playing it safe. This new guy, he's fire. He doesn't ask. He just takes." "What about your husband?" the man asked. "What about him?" She laughed. "Once I've moved enough money, I'll serve him papers. He'll cry, then roll over like he always does." The way she spoke about me, like I was weak, disposable, flipped something inside me. I wasn't angry. I was done. But this wasn't going to be another tale of a guy getting walked all over. Melissa had no idea I'd been quietly patenting a software design I built during sleepless nights. She laughed when I lost my job 2 months ago. Said she always knew I'd end up failing like my dad. But I didn't tell her that the prototype I worked on for a decade had just been sold to a tech giant in Palo Alto for $18.7 million. I had already filed for divorce before this trip, in secret. The papers were sitting in my lawyer's office, just waiting for the perfect delivery. And tomorrow would be that day. But before that, I had one more play to make. I got back from the airport that night, pretending everything was normal. Melissa had no clue that I was already in Hawaii and knew everything. She believed I was still in New York at a business seminar, the same lie she used on me. As I stepped inside our home the next morning, the silence was broken by a faint sound, the soft hum of a hairdryer upstairs. She was back. But what struck me wasn't Melissa. It was our daughter, Emily. She sat on the living room floor, her eyes locked on an old family photo, one where we were still pretending. I noticed something strange. She was crying quietly, but trying hard not to let it show. Her small fingers traced the image of her mom's smile, then stopped over mine. "Dad," she whispered without looking up. "Did Mom really go to New York for work?" My stomach sank. I didn't answer. She turned to me, trembling, because I saw her Instagram story last night. She was on a beach. There was a guy in the reflection behind her. Not you. I knelt beside her, speechless. Emily was only 12, but smart beyond her years. Too smart to believe lies meant for children. Her hands were shaking now. "She told me not to tell you, that you just get mad. But I hate lying to you. I hate it." I pulled her into a hug as my mind raced. Melissa's cheating wasn't just destroying our marriage. It was breaking our daughter's trust in love, in honesty, in me. That was the last line. She had crossed it. As Emily cried in my arms, I made a silent promise. She'll never hurt us again. Then something unexpected happened. Emily pulled a crushed paper from under the couch. It was a printed email Melissa had dropped. On it was a hotel booking confirmation, Jackson's Hotel. My wife was stupid enough to leave physical evidence, and my daughter had found it. But the twist? There was another name on the booking, Kayla Green. Kayla was Melissa's best friend, a woman I thought I could trust, a woman who had babysat Emily, spent Thanksgivings with us, and shared wine nights with Melissa while I worked overtime. Turns out, she was the one who booked the hotel under her name, covering for them. They weren't just cheating on me. They were orchestrating the entire lie together. My wife, her best friend, my money, and my daughter's heart caught in the middle of it all. That night, Emily and I packed a bag and stayed at my brother's hotel suite, far from Melissa's lies, but close enough to watch everything crumble. The next morning, my wife's call lit up my phone at 6:12 a.m. Panic in her voice. "Where are you? I just landed and the house is empty. Emily's not here. What's going on?" I smiled. "We're exactly where we need to be. And you? You're right where I want you." Melissa kept calling. Each time, her voice trembled more, not out of guilt, but from fear of losing control. She was used to holding the cards, used to me chasing her forgiveness like a desperate fool. Not this time. I let her stew in silence for hours. No messages, no location updates, just stillness. By 4 p.m., she finally sent a message that read, "If this is about the Hawaii thing, I can explain. He's just a friend from college. I had a breakdown. I needed air. I'm sorry if it looked wrong. Please call me. Where's Emily?" I showed the message to Emily. She shook her head and whispered, "She always says she's sorry when she's caught." "Don't believe her this time, Dad." That cut deeper than I expected. Our daughter had seen too much, too soon. This was more than cheating. It was character assassination. Melissa wasn't just a bad wife. She was a toxic mother, too. So I made my next move. I called her, but put her on speaker. My brother, my lawyer, and Emily were all there. She had no idea. "Where are you?" she snapped the moment she picked up. "We're safe." "Unlike your lies," I replied calmly. "Listen, I know how this must look, but—" "You mean how it looked when you kissed your friend at the beach bar, or when you used my ATM card to buy that necklace he was wearing." There was silence. I could practically hear her heartbeat on the other end. "How do you know all that?" she whispered. "Because my brother owns the hotel. You remember Jackson, don't you? The one you never bothered to meet? He recognized your face the moment you stepped in with another man, laughing like your family never mattered." Melissa's tone flipped, from denial to rage. "So, you've been spying on me? What kind of sick control freak are you?" That's when Emily stood up and shouted into the phone, "You lied to me too, Mom. You told me Daddy would hurt you if he knew. You made me lie. You made me feel like the bad guy." The phone went dead. Melissa hung up, but the damage was already done. She was exposed. Later that night, Melissa returned home expecting to sweet-talk her way back in. Instead, she found all her things packed and waiting on the front lawn. Kayla was there too, her car parked down the street, watching. I walked out calmly with the signed divorce papers. Everything was done. Property transfer finalized, custody documents filed. And, with help from my brother's hotel security footage and financial tracking, my lawyer had irrefutable evidence. "You asked for an open marriage," I said as I handed her the envelope. I just opened the door wider. Then I turned to Kayla. "If you're here to pick up your friend, go ahead. But you're not welcome on this street again." Melissa looked stunned. But the twist? She still didn't know the biggest betrayal was about to hit her the next morning. The next morning was cold, but I was up early. It was signing day. Melissa still hadn't replied since last night. She probably assumed this was just a dramatic episode, that somehow she could twist it around and walk away with half of everything. She had no clue what was coming. At the lawyer's office, she walked in dressed in black, not out of mourning, but as if she was heading to a power move. Her face said it all. Smug, confident, dismissive. I greeted her with a nod. No smile, no anger, just stillness. "Let's just make this quick," she said coldly. "I've got a flight to catch." "To Hawaii?" I asked. She shot me a sharp look. I didn't flinch. The lawyers went through the formalities. Division of property, agreed. Shared custody of Emily, agreed. Spousal support, waived. Melissa signed everything without reading it too closely. She thought I was being generous, that I was rolling over. She had no clue I was setting the stage for her final humiliation. Then, the attorney cleared his throat. "Before we finalize the signatures, Mr. Harrison has submitted an updated financial disclosure," he said, sliding a thick folder across the table. Melissa raised an eyebrow. "Updated?" she asked. "What does that mean?" The lawyer opened it. Inside was the patent I had filed 6 months earlier, a new software framework, something I had quietly developed after hours, working through pain and betrayal, refusing to be the failure she mocked me as. "That patent was sold to a private buyer 2 weeks ago," the lawyer continued, "for a total of $90 million. The room went dead silent. Melissa blinked. "That's a typo, right?" she whispered. I shook my head. "When I lost my job, you laughed. You said I always fail. What you didn't know is I was already working on something that would make sure I never failed again. You were so busy running around with your open marriage that you didn't notice the man you married became a millionaire." Melissa's hands started to shake. We're still legally married," she stammered. "That money, half of that, it's mine." My lawyer slid the next document across the table. "Actually, no. Your signature here," he tapped the page she had just signed minutes earlier, "waives any claim to post-separation earnings or intellectual property not previously disclosed. It's all his." "But you tricked me." I leaned forward. "No, Melissa, you tricked yourself." She collapsed into the chair. Her dreams of taking everything, of walking away richer, gone in one sentence. And the best part? Emily knew. She had helped me print the prototype. She had even drawn the first logo. My daughter had been part of the success, while her mother lied, cheated, and laughed at us both. Melissa didn't leave the lawyer's office that day with the dignity she imagined. She left in tears, yelling at her own attorney, accusing him of failing her. But deep down, she knew this was all her doing. Her own arrogance had blinded her to reality. She wanted an upgrade, but she downgraded herself into a footnote in my story of redemption. That night, my daughter Emily sat with me on the porch. We didn't say much. Just the two of us, watching the stars come out one by one, knowing life would never be the same, but also knowing we were okay. She looked at me, eyes full of quiet respect. "Dad, I always knew you were building something. I didn't know it was that big, but I never doubted you." Her words meant more than any courtroom victory, but not everyone was silent. The next morning, Kayla, Melissa's cousin and supposed best friend, showed up at our house. She looked nervous, guilty, like a kid caught stealing from the cookie jar. She confessed everything. It turned out she had known about Melissa's affair the whole time. Worse, she helped cover for her, helped book the hotel in Hawaii, told lies to Emily, even once babysat just so Melissa could sneak away for the weekend. "I'm so sorry," she said, eyes red. "I thought I was helping her, but I see now I was helping her destroy you." I didn't yell. I didn't curse her out. I just nodded. "That makes you no different than her," I said quietly, "and I want both of you out of our lives." Kayla broke down crying, but I shut the door. I wasn't cold. I was finished. That afternoon, Melissa called. Desperate, crying, begging. She told me the man from Hawaii had ghosted her, that her name was being whispered at work, her reputation trashed, that even her own family had turned their backs on her. "Please," she said, "I made a mistake. We can fix this." I didn't even get angry. I just sighed. "No, Melissa. You made a choice. Over and over again. You chose everyone but me. Now I'm choosing me." Then I hung up. It was the first time in a long time I truly felt free. After hanging up the phone, I looked around the house, now silent, heavy with the echoes of what had been. My daughter Emily stood beside me, her eyes steady and full of strength beyond her years. She reached out and took my hand. "Dad," she said softly, "I know Mom said I'm not your property, but you're my dad, and we'll get through this, together." Her words hit me harder than any courtroom win or legal document. It wasn't about control or ownership. It was about family, the one Melissa had torn apart with her lies and selfishness. That day, I made one last call to the movers. I was officially evicting Melissa and Kayla from the house. No more secrets, no more cover-ups, no more pretending that things could be fixed by just agreeing to open things up. I realized something important. Marriage is not a contract for convenience or permission to betray. It's a sacred trust, one that must be honored or ended with courage. Melissa's declaration for an open marriage was her way of breaking free from responsibility. I gave her what she wanted, freedom, but I didn't give her my life or my dignity. I took back control the only way I knew how, by walking away stronger, smarter, and with my daughter beside me. As the front door shut behind them for the last time, I breathed deeply. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but it would be ours. Because some betrayals cut deep, but revenge isn't about hurting someone back. It's about rebuilding your own life so well they regret losing you. In life, trust is the foundation of any relationship, especially marriage. When that trust is broken, it's natural to feel lost and betrayed. But true strength comes not from seeking revenge to hurt others, rather from reclaiming your own dignity, standing firm, and rebuilding your life with honesty and self-respect. Sometimes, letting go is the bravest form of love, for yourself and those who truly matter. Always remember, loyalty and respect cannot be forced or shared. They must be earned and cherished. And when someone chooses to break that sacred bond, the best revenge is to live a better, stronger, and happier life without them.